The morning at Orion Human Academy began like any other. Soft blue lights glowed along the steel walls, and thin hologram screens floated over each desk. Students moved through the hall with half-open eyes. Still sleepy, still complaining about homework, still waiting for the lunch break even though class had not yet started. But something felt different today, though the air felt heavier. The hallways felt too quiet. Even the school security drones hummed a little louder, as if sensing something unusual in the atmosphere. Inside room 4A, the classroom for galactic history, students slowly took their seats. They chatted about weekend games, new gadgets, and rumors about alien species attacking human colonies far away from Earth. But one student did not join the noise. Her name was Lena. Lena sat at the last desk near the window. She always chose the same spot, quiet, hidden, unnoticed. Her long black hair covered half her face as she kept her eyes down, writing in a small notebook no one had ever seen inside. She never spoke unless the teacher called her name. She never argued. She never smiled. And she never shared anything about her past. Some students joked that she was a ghost. Others said she was a transfer from a failed colony. A few whispered she might be part alien. But the truth was something none of them could imagine. Today, that truth was getting closer. The teacher, Mr. Varen, entered the classroom with a strange look on his face. He was usually calm and cheerful, but today he looked nervous. He held a silver data chip in his hand, gripping it tightly like he was afraid to drop it. The class went silent the moment they saw him. Mr. Varen placed the chip into the center console. The hologram projector lit up with a sharp blue flash. "Students," he said slowly, "today's lesson will be different." Everyone sat up straight. Even Lena lifted her eyes just a little. Mr. Varen cleared his throat. "This morning, the Academy received a locked transmission from the Galactic Human Defense Network. It came from a colony ship that was destroyed 2 days ago." The room grew colder. Destroyed colony ships were never a small matter. "Inside this transmission," he continued, "we found war footage. But it is not normal combat footage. It contains something or someone very important." Lena's hand stopped moving over her notebook. The class whispered among themselves, "Is it aliens again? Did humans lose another battle? Maybe it's classified military tech?" Mr. Varen raised a hand. "Quiet, please." His voice trembled slightly, something no one had heard before. "This footage is special because the system flagged a message inside it. Human warrior identified. And the strange part is, the biometric match indicates that the warrior is currently inside this academy." Students gasped. Someone laughed nervously. Someone else looked around the room. Inside the quiet corner, Lena lowered her eyes again. Her fingers tightened around her pencil. Mr. Varen continued, "Before I show you this footage, I want you all to remain calm. What you see may look unbelievable." He pressed a button. A loud beep echoed. The hologram flickered as the file began loading. But then something unexpected happened. A bright red warning flashed. "Biometric match detected, subject present in CLASROM." The students froze. The system's voice spoke. "Identity match, 98.7%. 99.3%. Match complete." The hologram paused and pointed a thin beam of light across the room. The beam stopped on the last desk on Lena. At first, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Every student turned their heads slowly, as if afraid the quiet girl might disappear if they blinked. Lena didn't look up. But her breathing changed, slow, careful, heavy. A boy sitting near her pushed his chair back. A girl near the front whispered, "No way. It can't be her. She's so quiet." Mr. Varen swallowed hard. "Lena," he said softly, "the system is identifying you as the subject in the recording. Do you know anything about this?" The room felt like a pressure chamber. The air felt too thin. The lights flickered faintly as the system waited. Lena did not answer. Her hands shook very slightly, just enough for her pencil to roll off the desk and tap the floor. Tap, tap, tap. That tiny sound echoed louder than thunder. Mr. Varin hesitated. Lena? She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were not the eyes of a normal student. They were dark, deep, sharp eyes that had seen something violent, something terrifying, something no teenager should ever witness. The class pulled back in fear without meaning to. Lena opened her mouth to speak, but the hologram cut her off, displaying footage now. The lights dimmed. A cold wind seemed to sweep through the classroom. The screen lit up with smoke, fire, and chaos, and then a warrior appeared on the battlefield, a human fighter with broken armor, glowing eyes, and strength that could crush alien soldiers like they were toys. The warrior moved with speed no human should have. The warrior shouted commands that made soldiers rally around her. The warrior fought like a storm, unstoppable, fierce, terrifying. And as the camera zoomed in, the face behind the cracked helmet became clear. It was Lena. The class gasped as one. Someone in the front row whispered, "That's impossible." Lena closed her eyes. She knew this moment would come someday. She hoped it wouldn't be today. She hoped they would never know who she really was. But now, everything she tried to hide was breaking open, and the truth was only beginning. The room was silent except for the crackling sound of burning ships inside the hologram. The students stared at the floating screen, unable to blink, unable to breathe. The battlefield looked like another world. Dark clouds, broken metal, and alien screams filled the air. Dead trees stood like skeletons. Fires burned everywhere. It was chaos. It was fear. It was war. But the biggest shock wasn't the war. It was the person at the center of it. The warrior stood alone on a pile of broken alien armor. Her chest armor was cracked, her helmet broken on one side, and her arm bleeding with glowing blue blood. She looked tired, but her stance was sharp, ready to fight again. Her face finally turned to the camera, and everyone in class gasped. It was Lena, not the quiet Lena sitting in class. Not the shy girl who avoided everyone. Not the student who never raised her hand. This Lena looked like a completely different person. Her eyes glowed with a silver blue light. Her hair was tied back tightly. Her expression was cold, focused, deadly. She looked like a soldier who had seen too many battles. A fighter who knew how to survive. A warrior who was trained to kill. The whole class froze. A boy whispered shakily, That can't be her. That girl can't even talk loudly." Another girl said, "But look at the face. It's the same. It's really her." A third student slowly moved his chair away from Lena's desk. Lena kept her head down, her fingers gripping the desk so hard her knuckles turned white. But she didn't look angry. She looked tired. Tired of running from her own past. The teacher, Mr. Varin, stared with wide eyes. "I don't understand. Lena, this footage is from a battle 2 months ago. How could you?" His voice slowly faded as the hologram zoomed in on Lena's battle scene. The warrior version of Lena was surrounded by creatures that looked like living machines. Tall metal bodies with red eyes and sharp claws. Their metal skin reflected the fire around them. Their arms transformed into blasters. They were called Vorak units, one of the deadliest alien forces known to humanity. But Lena didn't look scared. She took a deep breath. Her eyes flashed bright silver, and she charged. The class jumped in their chairs. The Lena in the hologram moved so fast the screen almost blurred. She dodged lasers, punched through metal armor, and sent 2 aliens flying with a single kick. The ground cracked under her feet. Every time she jumped, one alien tried to shoot her from behind. Lena didn't even turn around. She raised one hand, and the bullet stopped midair. She grabbed it, crushed it, and threw it back like a knife. The class gasped again. "Humans can't do that." Is she enhanced? Is she even human? The real Lena in the classroom slowly closed her eyes. She wished she could disappear. She wished they never saw this part of her life, but the footage kept playing. The warrior Lena shouted orders to other human soldiers. Her voice was deep, strong, and full of command. "Squad B, Flank right. Squad C, push forward. Keep moving. Do not let the Vorak reach the energy core. Her voice echoed through the classroom speakers. A boy whispered, "She sounds like a captain." Another replied, "Not just a captain. She's in charge of the whole battlefield." The recording showed human troops following her every word. They trusted her. They needed her. Lena fought for them like a storm, kicking, punching, blocking. Her movements looked like a dance, deadly but beautiful. Then, suddenly, the camera shook. A massive explosion burst from the left side of the battlefield. Dust covered the screen. When the view cleared, a new alien creature stepped out of the smoke. It was huge, at least 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and a glowing red core in the center of its chest. Its voice sounded like grinding metal. Target, subject Lin 42. Priority, terminate. Students looked at each other. Subject Lin 42? That sounds like some kind of experiment. Is that her? A project? Lena's breathing grew sharper as she watched. She remembered this moment too well. The moment she stopped being a student and returned to being a weapon. The alien charged toward the warrior Lena. She barely dodged and rolled across the ground. Her armor broke even more. Her hands glowed with strange blue energy as she prepared to fight again. In the class, a girl whispered nervously, "Why is she glowing like that?" "Is that human tech?" Mr. Vering answered quietly, "No, that's not tech. That's something else." Back in the hologram, the alien's 4 arms swung like whips. Lena blocked one, ducked under the second, twisted from the third, but the 4th arm hit her hard. She flew across the battlefield, crashing into a broken wall. The class gasped. Someone covered their mouth, but warrior Lena stood up again. Slowly, painfully. But she stood. Her eyes glowed brighter than before. She whispered, "I won't let them die." Not today. She charged again, this time with raw power burning around her like fire. The screen showed a blur of blue and red light. Lena punched through the alien's chest core with her glowing hand. The creature exploded into sparks. Students jumped in their seats. Mr. Varing whispered, almost afraid. No normal human can do that. The recording dimmed. A message popped up. End of file classified level. Omega human subject LIN42 escaped ASSET. Class turned slowly toward Lena. She did not look up. Her voice was cold, quiet and trembling. "I told them I never wanted to fight again." And the real fear began to creep into the room. The classroom was no longer a classroom. It felt like a courtroom, filled with silence, fear, and fast-beating hearts. The war footage ended, the hologram dimmed, and all that remained was the sound of students breathing too loudly in a room that felt much too small. Everyone stared at Lena. She didn't lift her head. Her hands stayed on her desk, still cold, almost frozen. Only her quiet breathing showed she was still there and not a shadow left behind. The students didn't know what to do. Some looked scared. Some looked confused. Some looked at her the way people look at dangerous creatures behind glass. A boy near the front whispered, "Is she even human?" His friend elbowed him. "Shut up, she might hear you." But Lena heard everything. She always did. She squeezed her hands together under the desk. Not out of anger, but to stop them from trembling. Mr. Varin finally found the courage to speak. His voice was soft, as if talking too loudly might break something delicate. "Lena, what we saw. Do you have anything to say?" Lena stayed silent. She knew this moment would come. She just hoped it would come later. She hoped she had more time to pretend she was normal. A girl sitting 2 rows in front raised her shaky hand. Her voice cracked even though she tried to speak bravely. "Mr. Varin, is she dangerous?" Lena's heart stung at the question. The teacher didn't answer right away. He kept looking at Lena, studying her face, searching for clues, trying to understand the student he thought he knew. "Lena," he said again, "the footage identified you. The message said, escaped asset. What does that mean? Who are you? What happened to you?" The questions fell like heavy stones. Another student, A tall boy with nervous eyes stood and pointed a finger at Lena. That thing in the video wasn't a student. It wasn't someone who belongs in this classroom. It was a weapon. Lena flinched, but only slightly. Mr. Varen raised his hand quickly. Enough, Rulin, sit down. But the damage was done. The room exploded with whispers. A weapon. She crushed aliens with her hands. She can kill us if she wants. How did she hide this for so long? Did she fake being quiet all the time? She shouldn't be here. The voices got louder, meaner, sharper. Each word hit Lena like a small cut. She kept her head low, but inside her chest old memories woke up. Memories she wanted to forget. The sound of labs. The cold metal tables. Doctors talking like she wasn't human. Training fields where she fought until her bones cracked. Orders yelled at her until she couldn't sleep. She had run from all of it. She had tried to start over. She tried to be normal. But the past always catches you. Always. One girl, smaller than the others but braver, stepped forward and faced Lena directly. Why didn't you tell us? She asked softly. You were alone for so long. Were you scared? Lena's fingers finally moved. She lifted her head, very slowly. Her eyes met the girl's. They were tired eyes. Not glowing with power. Not full of anger. Just tired. I didn't want anyone to be afraid of me, Lena whispered. Her voice sounded like it hadn't been used in days. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just wanted to be a student. I just wanted to stop fighting. Her words filled the room with a heavy sadness. For the first time, some students felt pity instead of fear, but others did not. The tall boy, Rulin, slammed his hand on the desk. This is ridiculous. She's lying. Did you see what she did in the video? She's not normal. She's a killer. Lena's jaw tightened, but she stayed quiet. Rulin kept going. What if the aliens come for her? We'd all be in danger. She should leave. Mr. Varen snapped. Rulin! Sit down before I remove you from class. But Rulin didn't back down. No. We deserve to know who she really is. He marched toward Lena's desk and slammed his hand down on it. Lena didn't move, but every muscle in her body tensed. Tell us what you are. Rulin shouted. The room froze again. Mr. Varen moved quickly between them, pushing Rulin back. That's enough. You will not threaten another student. But Rulin shouted behind him. She isn't a student. She's a war machine. Lena closed her eyes. She remembered that word. Machine. It was what the scientists called her, but she was not a machine. She never was. After a long moment, Lena opened her eyes again and spoke softly but clearly. I am human, she said. More human than they wanted me to be. The class went silent. Mr. Varen looked at her with shock. What do you mean? Lena looked down at her hands. Small, gentle hands that had crushed metal aliens in the hologram. I was taken when I was young, she said quietly. They changed me. Made me strong. Made me fast. Made me fight. But they couldn't change my heart. Her voice cracked. They wanted me to be a weapon. But I didn't want to kill anymore. So I ran. Students listened, frozen. Even Rulin had no words. I came here, Lena continued. To learn. To be normal. To be just Lena. She looked at the students, scared, confused, silent. I stayed quiet because I didn't know if you would accept me. She swallowed hard, and now, maybe I know the answer. Her voice faded. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Mr. Varen stepped closer and gently said, Lena, you don't have to be afraid. I don't know everything you went through, but I know you're still a person. And this class will treat you like one. But even he didn't sound fully confident. The room felt fragile, like one wrong word could shatter everything. Before anyone could speak again, the school intercom suddenly crackled to life. A robotic voice announced, Attention all students and staff. Unidentified ships detected entering Earth's orbit. Everyone stiffened. The voice continued. Prepare for emergency protocol. This is not a drill. The teacher's face turned pale. Students looked out the windows. Shadows moved across the sky. Something was coming. something that wasn't supposed to find Lena, but finally did. The classroom shook as the alarm continued repeating across the speakers, unidentified ships entering Earth's orbit. All students follow emergency protocol. Windows rattled. Chairs trembled. Students' faces turned pale as the shadows of massive ships slipped across the sky like giant dark birds. Someone whispered, "Aliens? They found us." And every eye turned toward Lena again. But she wasn't looking out the window. She was staring at her hands, the same hands the class had seen crushing alien warriors in the recorded battle. Her breathing grew heavier because she already knew what ships were in the sky. She recognized the sound, the power signature, the slow rumble of their engines. The Vorok units, they were here. Not for Earth, not for humans. They came for her. Mr. Varin snapped into action. "Everyone, get under the desks or move to the hallway. Quickly." But the students didn't move. Their fear kept them frozen, eyes bouncing between the window and the quiet girl, who had suddenly become the center of the universe. Rulan's voice cracked. They tracked her, didn't they?" A girl whispered, "Is she dangerous to us? Should we run?" Another replied shakily, "What if she's the only one who can protect us?" Fear and hope mixed inside the room like unstable chemicals. Lena stood up slowly. Everyone flinched. Not because she looked threatening, but because this was the first time she stood like her warrior self. Her posture straightened. Her shoulders tightened. Her eyes lost their tired sadness and filled. With sharp focus, she looked like she did in the war footage, a trained soldier, a survivor, a weapon with a heart. Mr. Varin stepped forward, trying not to show fear. "Lena, if you know something about this, please tell us." Lena closed her eyes. This was the moment she had avoided for years. The moment she hoped would never come, but running never helped. Truth always chased her. Now it caught her. "It started when I was 8, she said. Students swallowed hard. Lena continued. "I lived in a small colony on the outer rim. One night the Vorak attacked. They destroyed everything." She paused. "My parents didn't survive. Some students lowered their heads. I was taken by a human military ship. Not for rescue, but for a program." Mr. Varin frowned. "A program?" Lena nodded. "They called it the LIN Project. LIN stands for Living Integrated Nova, a living weapon created to fight alien machines." Gasps filled the room. Rulan whispered, "You mean you're not just a soldier, you're engineered?" Lena didn't deny it. "They changed my body with nanotech. They trained me every day. They pushed me until I couldn't stand. They taught me to fight, to shoot, to strategize, and never to feel." Her voice shook. "They tried to turn me into something that only obeyed." The class listened in pin-drop silence. Lena continued slowly. "Painfully, when the Vorak attacked again, they sent me first. I wasn't ready. I was just a child. But they didn't care." A tear escaped her eye. She wiped it quickly. The students didn't know what to do. They had seen her destroy alien fighters with her bare hands. But hearing she had been forced into battle as a child broke something inside them. "I followed orders," Lena said. "I fought for humans. I saved lives. I ended battles." Her voice lowered. "But one day, they ordered me to destroy a Vorak nursery." The room froze. Lena continued. "Inside were alien children, small, weak, scared, just like human children. And I couldn't do it." The entire class stared at her, heartbroken. "That day," Lena said, "I disobeyed. For the first time, I refused. I protected the young ones instead." She looked at her hands again. "That's when the military called me a failed weapon. A danger, an escaped asset. They wanted to erase me." She took a shaky breath. "So I ran. I hid. I tried to become a normal student. I tried to forget the war. I tried to forget what they made me." Her voice fell to a whisper. "But the Vorak never forgot me." Mr. Varin stepped closer, confusion and sympathy mixing in his eyes. "Why would the Vorak search for you now?" You fought them. Lena's eyes darkened. I didn't just fight them. She hesitated. I saved their children. To the Vorak, I am a human who does not kill their young. To them, that is a sign of honor. Students stared in disbelief. They don't want me dead, Lena said. They want me returned. Because they believe I am something important to their species. Rulin whispered. Important? Like what? Lena answered quietly, a symbol. Silence. Pure. Heavy silence. Lena turned toward the window. Alien ships glowed in the sky, hovering like giant metal giants waiting for a signal. They will come for me soon, she said. I didn't want any of you to be part of this. A girl finally spoke, voice trembling but brave. Lena, if they want you, will they hurt us? Lena closed her eyes. No, the Vorak don't kill without purpose. They came for me. But the humans... She paused. Humans won't let them take me. And that is what will cause the real danger. Mr. Varian's eyes widened. You mean a war could start here? Lena nodded. If I stay, humans will fight to capture me again. If I leave, aliens will fight to keep me. And you will all be caught in the middle. Students exchanged terrified looks. Then what will you do? Someone asked. Lena looked at the classroom, the only place where she ever felt even a little bit human. Her voice softened. I don't know. Before anyone could say another word, the building shook violently. The sky outside flashed with laser fire. Alarms screamed on every floor. A robotic voice echoed. Breach detected. Vorak units entering atmosphere. Students huddled together. Mr. Varian yelled, everyone move. We need to get to shelter now. But Lena didn't move. She stared at the burning sky. Her past had finally caught her, and she knew exactly what she had to do. The world inside the moving lab felt tense, like the air was holding its breath. Scientists spoke in quiet voices. Screens showed lines of data that kept rising and falling in strange patterns. Soldiers stood near the doors with hands close to their weapons. Everyone acted like something terrible could happen at any moment, and in the middle of everything sat Ayla. Still silent, still calm, but her eyes were sharper than before. She watched everything. Every sound. Every movement. Every heartbeat. She was no longer only the quiet girl from class. She was something else. Something powerful. Something dangerous. Something needed, but no one fully understood her. Not yet. Professor Han and Captain Rafik entered the main room where Ayla waited. They exchanged a serious glance before approaching her. Ayla, Professor Han said gently, we need to ask you something important. Ayla lifted her eyes. About the invasion? The professor paused. Yes, but something more. You reacted before the satellite even showed the enemy ships. You sensed them before anyone. How? Ayla looked down at her hands. They were small and soft hands that had once only held books and pens. But those hands had destroyed alien drones only hours ago. I can feel them, she whispered. I don't know how to explain it. When they are close, my chest feels tight. My skin becomes cold. My eyes see things. Like the world slows down. Captain Rafik leaned closer. Do you know who these aliens are? Or why they attacked us? Ayla shook her head. Not completely, but I can hear them. Both men froze. Hear them? Professor Han asked slowly. Their voices? Ayla nodded. Not words. It is like a deep echo. A heavy sound in my mind. A direction. A purpose. They are looking for something. What something? Captain Rafik asked. Ayla's voice became softer. The room fell completely silent. A soldier almost dropped his tablet. Another stepped back. Even the hum of engines suddenly sounded louder. Professor Han swallowed hard. Why would they want you? Ayla looked afraid for the first time. Her fingers curled around the edges of her chair. Because I am one of them. The words hit the room like a shock wave. Even the soldiers who believed in supernatural things stared in disbelief. Ayla looked human in every way. She looked like a normal schoolgirl who never spoke loudly, never laughed too much, never caused any trouble. But now she said she was not fully human. Captain Rafik stepped forward, voice firm. Ayla, explain. Ayla closed her eyes. I don't know everything. I only know pieces, flashes, memories that are not mine. My mother told me when I was young that I was adopted. She said my real family died in an accident. But she never gave details. She touched her forehead lightly. But sometimes I see images, stars, broken planets, a ship flying through fire, a soldier carrying a glowing capsule. I think I was that capsule. Professor Han listened with growing horror. A child sent to Earth? Ayla nodded. To hide me. To protect me. Because the enemy wanted me. Still wants me. Why? Rafik asked. Are you a weapon? Ayla hesitated. Not a weapon. A key. Everyone looked confused. A key to what? Professor Han asked. Ayla lifted her eyes. They glowed faintly, just a small shimmer, but real, like starlight trapped inside. To a door, she said. A door that can open or close parts of the galaxy. The enemy, the Vorn, want to use that door. They destroy worlds to find it, and they think you know how to open it. Ayla nodded. Yes, Captain Rafik cursed under his breath. So they are not invading Earth by accident. No, Ayla whispered. They came because I am here. A new alarm suddenly rang through the mobile lab. A deep, sharp beeping that made everyone jump. A soldier shouted, multiple enemy signatures approaching fast. They found us. The screens lit up with red dots moving across the map. Drone ships, hunter class. Deadly. Captain Rafik turned to the men. Prepare defenses. Move the lab into tunnel formation. His voice echoed across the halls. Soldiers ran. Doors closed. Lights switched to red. Professor Han stayed near Ayla. We must leave. They will target you first. Ayla stood up slowly, her face pale, but her eyes determined. Running will not stop them. They will follow me no matter where I go. We can protect you, the professor said firmly. Ayla shook her head. You cannot protect me. But maybe I can protect you. The floor began to tremble as distant explosions shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. Soldiers shouted orders. The entire world felt like it was collapsing. Ayla took a deep breath, and in that moment something changed in her. It was like a quiet fire woke inside her chest. Her hair lifted slightly as if a breeze brushed through it. Her eyes glowed stronger. Everyone felt it. A soft pressure in the air. Something unseen but powerful. Ayla. Professor Han whispered. What are you doing? She stepped forward. What I was born to do. Outside, the hunter drones broke through the clouds, black metal wings cutting through the sky like knives. Their lights flashed. Their weapons glowed. They locked onto the moving lab dot inside. Ayla lifted her hand. A pulse of blue light spread out from her fingers, gentle but strong. Like a heartbeat moving through the air. The lights flickered. The screens glitched, and every person inside the lab felt the same question. What is she? Ayla turned toward the door. They came for me, she said softly. So I will meet them. And she walked out. The glowing in her eyes now bright as stars. The soldiers watched her go. Both terrified and hopeful. Because now they understood one thing clearly. Ayla was not hiding anymore. Outside the moving lab, the world looked like a storm of light and fire. The sky was filled with dark clouds and glowing red lines made by invading drones. The Vorn ships flew in sharp, arrow-like shapes. Their metal bodies hummed with cold, deadly energy. They moved fast, silent, sure of their power. And in the middle of the open field stood Ayla, the once quiet girl who never spoke in class. Now she stood tall, her eyes glowing like small stars, her presence calm but strong. The soldiers watched from behind armored windows. Professor Han pressed his hands against the glass. fear and hope fighting inside him. She is just one girl, a soldier whispered. No, Professor Han replied quietly. She's more than that. But she's also one of us. The ground shook as the first Vaughn drone landed. Its legs unfolded like sharp metal blades. Its single red eye locked on an ILA dot. Another drone landed, then another. Soon, a circle of machines surrounded her. Ayla breathed slowly. I know why you came, she said softly, even though the machines did not speak. A small vibration filled the air, like a whisper inside every mind. Ayla closed her eyes. She could feel it, hear it, return. Key. The Vaughn mind voice was cold, heavy, and full of control. It pressed against her thoughts like icy fingers. Ayla opened her eyes again. No, the word echoed, soft but powerful. The drones reacted instantly. Their weapons glowed bright orange. The ground under Ayla cracked as energy built around her. But she did not move. Inside the lab, Captain Rafik shouted, "We must help her! Open fire!" But the weapons outside were too far, too weak, too slow. They could not stop what was coming. Professor Han grabbed his arm. Wait, watch. Because Ayla was changing. The air around her began to bend, like heat waves rising from desert sand. Her hair floated gently upward. Blue lines of light appeared on her skin like veins made of starlight. The Vaughn drones fired, beams of orange. Energy shot directly at her. They never touched her. Right before hitting her skin, the beams curved and twisted, pulled away by an invisible force. The air cracked with sound as the beams bent around her body and shot harmlessly into the sky. The soldiers gasped. She deflected the attack, one whispered. Ayla lifted her hand. Blue light gathered in her palm, glowing brighter and brighter. I am not your key, she said. I am not your weapon. One choose my own path. She pushed her hand forward. A wave of blue energy exploded from her palm, a wide, powerful pulse that washed over the field. The ground shook. Dust flew into the air. The drones staggered backward, their metal bodies rattling under the force. 3 drones collapsed instantly. Their systems fried, but more ships were coming, high above. The clouds split open as a massive Vaughn command ship descended. It was huge like a floating silver mountain, its surface covered with strange glowing patterns. A dark hatch opened at its bottom dot, and from that hatch fell a tall figure, a Vaughn commander. He landed on the ground with a heavy thud. His armor was black with red lines pulsing like veins. His face was hidden behind a steel mask. His voice echoed like thunder. The key will return with us. Ayla stepped back slightly. The ground trembled under his feet. The commander lifted his arm, and a long spear of dark energy formed in his hand. Inside the lab, Captain Rafik shouted, We're going out there. Suit up. But Professor Han blocked him. Wait, she is not done. Ayla looked at the commander. I am not going anywhere. The commander walked toward her slowly. You do not understand your role. Without you, the ancient door will remain closed. We need you. You destroy worlds, Ella said. You killed my real family. You will not take Earth. The commander stopped. Then you will die with this world. He hurled his energy spear at her. Ayla raised both her hands. The moment the spear touched the air between them, something incredible happened. A white shockwave burst outward like a star exploding. The sky lit up. The ground cracked and lifted. The spear dissolved into dust. Ayla's eyes were fully glowing, now bright blue fire. She spoke, her voice stronger than ever. I am not alone. The Vaughn commander hesitated. What do you mean? Suddenly the lab doors behind her burst open. Captain Rafik and 50 soldiers ran out. Behind them came scientists, medics, engineers, everyone who had been hiding before. And behind them, from the hills, came local villagers carrying tools, sticks, old rifles, anything they could use. More soldiers drove in on armored trucks. Drones from Earth's Air Force flew in overhead. People gathered around ALA. Humans. ALA smiled a small, warm smile. You attacked the wrong planet, she said. Captain Rafik stood beside her. She's one of us, Professor Han added. And we protect our own. The humans charged, the Vaughn commander roared, drones fired from the skies, guns. Blazed explosions shook the field, but Ayla stood in the center. She lifted her arms. A dome of blue light expanded outward, protecting every human inside it. Enemy blasts hit the dome and dissolved like sparks hitting water. Ayla's voice echoed through the air. Earth fights together. She pushed her hands forward. The dome turned into a wave bright, powerful, unstoppable dot. It smashed into the Vaughn ship. The giant commander staggered, his armor cracking. The ship above cracked open like glass. Another pulse. Then another. The final shock wave erupted with a sound like thunder, and the battlefield went silent. The Vaughn were gone. Only humans remained. Standing, Captain Rafik looked around in awe. You saved us all, he said softly. Ayla shook her head. No, we saved Earth. For the first time, she smiled confidently. No longer the quiet girl. Now she was something far greater. ILA, defender of Earth.